I write these out, like every single one is normal CDF. Then you got the low and the high, and then it'll be 50 and 5, right? Is it okay if I just, like, for this one, I'll put, like, 58 and 999? I'm just filling in, like, those two slots. Does that make sense? Rather than write, like, the normal CDF every time. Okay. 95%. 95 percentiles. 95 percentages. What does normal CDF find? You guys are getting, like, less and less interested. So today we go backwards. I also noticed last hour, and just should bring this up, that's the answer your calculator gives you, right? You're absolutely allowed to leave it that way. And if you turn it into a percent, you're actually taking a risk that you're doing it correctly. A lot of people, it's just easy to screw this up and be like, okay, that's, I don't know, say it's 0.548%. Well, if you had these two things on your paper, I'd have to mark it wrong because those are actually two different things. I actually have nothing to gain by writing the percentage. So it's probably safer just to leave it as a decimal every time. I'll put the percent answer up here also, but I think that's probably a smarter decision is to just leave it. Please ask questions if you have them. I'm just writing up like the answers to the words that you talk about. You don't understand one. Ask. Those first four, okay, that I got there? How many of you guys have this kind of calculator? Today's a little different for you guys. It's a little easier. So that's that one, that one, that one. And this one you have two ways to do it. So what are not between 48 and 53, so you can find what is between 48 and 53, and then subtract that from 1. Or you can go like all the way up to 48, and then 53 and up, and you can add those two together. Sometimes I got a test, I would do both. And just make sure I can save things, and I feel like a little more confident it's the right one. But that's just me. What percentile is 58? So what does percentile mean?
What percentile?
Percent at or below you. So we're always looking below, and if you're looking below, there's always going to be this negative 999. So this is going to be normal CDF, negative 999, 58. And then tell the calculator the mean standard deviation. So 50 and 5, so I get 0.945. Did I show you guys the second header thing where you can do like instant replay and calculate?
Yeah.
Okay. So like for that next one, I just hit second header, I'm just scrolling back and then change the 58 to a 37. And I get 0.00466. that's the one where last hours, a couple people said, okay, that's 4.66%. And I can see how that mistake could easily be made, but if you put that at aftermarket wrong, or if you put that, you're good. So there's no advantage to continuing. Question on any of those? That's the stuff yesterday. Go over this one, we'll clarify this one. Okay, so I'm gonna go through today's stuff. So I don't like next unit you'll have like a page for notes, but I don't think of that time this time. These are the ones we're gonna do. And we're going backwards. So do you guys want like a section right on the question?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys want to go left, right? Middle?
Yeah.
So actually, I think we need to do that. We get to that. So yesterday, I like over and over went, how do you find percentages and CF, right? Well, notice that what did I give you this time? I gave you the percentage. So that's the opposite of yesterday. That's inverse. That's inverse norm. That's what we're doing. We're going backwards. We're going from the percent to a score. Instead of scores and percentages. Hold on, let's start. Second, I want to lift her out of my hands.
Oh my
Oh my god.
She said she was gonna come say hi to you this morning. That's funny. That's creepy.
Yeah.
I would have screamed.
Her and
Riley.
I forgot that.
Emily.
Emily.
So smart.
She seems like she's talking out.
They're a lot together.
Right.
When she's with,
Middle.
yeah, with Riley, by herself.
It was like, just felt so chaotic.
And then
My first art class usually I have to sleep, so it was like the opposite. You never were awake until like, it took you like half the class to kind of wake up last year, and then you start trolling people.
I think being Carson.
You do that too. You scare me in the morning.
We'll jump out with fire.
I don't even.
Awesome.
We'll pull the handle.
I don't even. I'm not
Okay, so the inverse norm finds the area to the left or the area below whatever you type in. Unless you have one of the advanced calculators, you're stuck with that. It only finds left, left, left. So for most of the problems, it's fine, but for some, it gets a little trickier. So what scores the 90th percentile? Well, if the average is 55, 90th percentile means 90% of the data is over there. So should my answer be bigger or smaller than 55? I'm looking for that score. Bigger, right? So just make sure that when you get your answer that it is bigger. So if you do like the opposite, it'll come out smaller, and then hopefully you'd be like, okay, wait, that doesn't make sense. But the way you would type this in is you would go to inverse norm, you put the 0.9 in, 90% as a decimal, and then you're going to tell the calculator the mean of the standard deviation. So inverse norm is right below normal CDF. So you have second distributions, or second bars, whichever way you want to say that. I believe it's number 3. So scroll down to that one. And then you're typing in these 3 things. So if you have the list before you still have the list, otherwise you have comments either way. And if you have the, I need a name to call this code. I don't want to say the
CE. Column.
The CE.
Column the text. The color. Column the text.
They're all text.
Oh, no.
Is that a CE?
Yeah, it's a C.
Okay, if you have the CE, you want it to say left. Right? doing like the area to the left. We want the area below. But you guys can switch to center and right. So inverse norm 0.9, comma 55, comma 6. I get 62.68 or 62.7. So that makes sense to me. That's above the mean. Is it reasonable that 90% of the data is below that? Yeah, that looks reasonable. It's not a guarantee I'm right, but like at least it's got to check that it's in the ballpark. Let's number these. I need to erase those. Try number 3. Literally did that. She was the one. Yeah, that's her. So 40th percentile, you want to know what score is there 40% of the data below that score. That's exactly what inverse norm does. Inverse norm does below, only does below for most of you. So you're going to put 0.4 because you're putting 40% as a decimal. And you're putting the mean and standard deviation. Should be labeling these technically. So I get 53.48. Right up to the conversation. Oh, it was you. Sorry. You're gonna wait too. That one okay. Was it okay? Yes, no, it's okay. Okay, thank you. 2 is where people start to get a little confused. Because of your calculator. So we're looking for this, so 55 is here. I'm looking for the cutoff for the top 30%. But our calculator doesn't know how to do top 30%. It only knows how to do bottom. The top 30% is the same as the bottom, what? 70.
Okay, I said 70. What?
Yeah, well I heard 60 and I was like, close, but so if there's 30% above that, doesn't there have to be 70% below that? And your calculator only knows how to do below. So cross off top 30 and write bottom 70. And then you're going to do it like the same way. So the inverse norm 0.7, 55.6. But your calculator, unless you have the CE, doesn't do above. It only does below. So you kind of got to like rewrite the problem to make it so it says below. So I get 58.15-ish. Does that make sense for that? Like you have to flip it if it says top. Let me show. So yours, you can just do the 23 and then you can write it down. You got it. Alright, what score is Q3 and find the IQR? These are fantastic questions. There's fantastic questions, probably going to see those again, right? That combines like what we did earlier in this unit with the stuff from now, so it's like a double-pronged question where I can make sure you understand 2 concepts in 1 question. It's a really good question that you are likely to see again. What score is the Q3? Remember, with Q1, median, Q3, what percent of scores are below Q3? 75%. So isn't that the same question saying what's the 75th percentile? Or what percent of scores? I'm sorry, not what percent. Where are the bottom 75% of scores? Where are the top 25% of scores? Those are all the same questions. So go ahead and find that. This would be inverse norm. 0.75. And then 55 and 6. So I'm rounding a little bit, but I basically get 59. Agree? You got that, 59? So then let me show you number 5 a couple of different ways. So 55 is here. This is Q3, and it's 59. So can I find Q1 without ever using inverse norm? Like without a calculator? Isn't it just it's symmetric, right? So if Q3 is 4 above the mean, doesn't Q1 have to be 4 below the mean? So that would be 51. And then the IQR is just the distance between those. So it's going to be 8. But if you forget that or you get stuck and you want to find them, what you're really doing, what I guess the longer technical way to do it would be find the 75th percentile, so that's what this does, and subtract what? 25th percentile. And now it's still give you, I think it's like 8.05 or something, but I'm rounding because it makes the concept easier to explain. Yeah.
If you have the special one, you can just hit center.
So you can just say, yeah.
You can just subtract those two numbers.
So you would do
So
like
I would do
center.
I would do the I'd do 50.
Okay, so you got to know that IQR is
Paste,
50%.
and then I get the 51, and then I get
Okay.
the 59.
You see how to do that? Center. So you got to know the IQR is 50%. Right, everybody? Alright, number 6, this is probably the toughest kind. Find the middle 40% of scores. And this is where the people with the CE have a huge advantage. You can just put 0.4 and then center, and you're done. But we, us other common folk, have some work to do. So, there's 100% to be, it goes this whole thing, right? I just used 40 of it, so how much is left? 60, and then I got to split that there and there. So 30 and 30. The middle 40% is basically saying, like, what's that score and what's that score? Because the middle 40% is between this and this. We have to think about it in terms of lower or left or less than. So if I want that score, what percent of the data is below that score? It's 30%. So I'm going to do inverse norm of 0.3 and then 55, and that's 6. That's this one. If I want that score, what percent of the data is below that number? Is 70, right? You got this 40 in the middle and then the 30 over here. So you could do this. And again, there's a way to take advantage of symmetry. So like this gives me 51.85. So for some people it might be easier to say, well, that is 3.15 below the mean. So this one has to be 3.15 above the mean. And sometimes it's like easier math than others. And that's just an option. You can do the inverse norm, or you can kind of use the symmetry. And in the middle 40%, I would say between 51.85 and 58.15. That's how I want your answer.
On the other calculator, does it just like show both of those?
You put like 0.4, and then you get to choose left, right, or center. So you just put center,
And then it just gives you those two.
right? It just gives those two numbers.
Okay. No, I said no if it gave you like a combined number.
They're pretty sweet. Questions on this at all? See what got? So I'm just going to change the numbers, give you like the same problems, but just different. Same but different, you know. Let's say this is 20, 4, 80th percentile, top 35%. Yeah, try those. Please ask if you have questions. I don't get a ton of questions in here, which I don't described it by myself.
You should definitely get it this one.
Like, let's see.
So much easier.
Makes graphing a lot easier because you can see it way better.
It's like a color screen.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we have like red, blue.
Yeah, you can change the colors of the lines and stuff.
Well, the thing, what if it's in
We're gonna use the bidding for it.
You stole your joke. I'm sorry, no. You stole your joke. Eightieth percentile, should I be above or below the mean for my answer? Should be above. So if you typed in wrong, you might get below. Just pay attention to that. Remember, I don't do top anything. I have to rephrase it. Those top three, okay? Remember, Q1 is the 25th percentile. So do inverse 1.25. Yeah, that's a great question because referring back to Wise plots, I can use that better knowledge for this material. Am I good to go or wait a second? Okay. So IQR, just want to explain this the last two again because I think they're the tougher two. The mean is 20. So Q1 we already found was 17.3. So Q3 I can find two ways. I can either look at how far this is away from the middle and then just go that far the other way. That's 2.7 away, so this would be 22.7. Or I could find like inverse norm of 0.75. And that better be 22.7. And then you subtract them. You didn't ever actually really need to find and then what would I do with that answer to find QR? Just double it, right? So you just go get the 2.7 there, 2.7 there. And these are just options. You can always do the 0.75 and 0.25 and subtract. Just kind of showing you like how things relate, giving you options to do it. Middle 70% of scores. So if I throw 70% in the middle, that means there's only 30% left over. So 15% here and 15% there. That number is inverse norm 0.15. And that number is inverse norm, what percent is below that spot? 85, right? So 0.85. And then 20 and 4. This is 15.85. So this will be 24.15. And then you would just say between 15.85 and 24.15. Any questions on any of those that I can help with over again? Where'd you get this from? Why'd you do this? I guess I'm different. Alright. I said one more con, which is this stuff. And then we've in theory done all the notes for the unit, so you are, not saying you should be able to, because you might miss some and understand them, but all the homework problems in that packet, we've gone through at least how to do those constants. So you have the rest of the class today, which I would definitely use. You got 20 minutes, that's 40% of class still. Work on con, work on packet, and you have tomorrow to do those things too. Some of you I know are all caught up in the head, and that's okay. We can take a little break.